cell membrane. We are going to discuss composition and the functions of different integral components of the cell membrane. Majorly, we are going to have a look at these points of the cell membrane, including its structure, composition, and functions of its constituents. Starting from the major functions of the cell membrane, as we all know, this is required for maintenance of the specific composition of intracellular fluid versus extracellular fluid. Also, it acts as a mechanical barrier to contain the internal environment different from the external environment of the cell. Cell membrane is selectively permeable, although it allows for movement of substances into and out of the cell, but that permeability is selective. It helps in making differentiation of ionic concentration and electrical activity across the cell. It also has receptor proteins on the cell membrane, which helps in responding to the chemical messengers from the environment. Also, it has receptor proteins that can help in communication between the cells. These are just a few functions of the cell membrane, and of course, this is also having other functions which are integral to the survival of human. There are many cell organelles, some of which are cell membrane bounded and some of them are non-membrane bounded. That means not only the cell itself is covered by the cell membrane, also the organelles inside the cell may be covered by the cell membrane, including nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, lysosomes, Golgi apparatus, and much more. Whereas the non-membranous organelles include ribosomes, proteasomes, vaults, and centrioles. To talk about the structure of the cell membrane, the most widely accepted model is the fluid mosaic model. Fluid means something which has a flowy consistency rather than a rigid structure, and mosaic means a pattern in which the proteins are embedded in mosaic pattern inside this phospholipid bilayer, and we call it the fluid mosaic model. You can appreciate over here the phospholipid bilayer, it's hydrophilic and the hydrophobic ends. You can see the proteins, the integral proteins versus peripheral proteins. You can see carbohydrates. This is the intracellular and this is the extracellular surface of the cell membrane. This is having the fluid mosaic model. So why is this fluid and why is this mosaic? As you see the difference between the saturated and unsaturated fats between butter and the ghee, the cell membrane is having these unsaturated phospholipid tails which have capacity to move laterally, giving the fluidity to the cell membrane rather than a fixed rigid structure, and it is mosaic because of this pattern of fixation of proteins in between the phospholipids throughout the cell membrane, so giving its name the fluid mosaic model. Another model to explain the structure of the cell membrane is known as trilaminar or the sandwich appearance model. Here you can appreciate the plasma membranes of two neighboring cells and interstitial fluid in between these two. And this is a cell membrane of one cell and this is the cell membrane of the neighboring cell, giving it this sandwich appearance seen under the electron microscopy. If we look into the detail, the surface of the phospholipid molecule facing the ICF and ECF, this is the hydrophilic end, and the tails in between these are the hydrophobic ends of phospholipid molecules forming the lipid bilayer of cell membrane. The phospholipids in this lipid bilayer are of multiple types. For example, phosphatidylcholine, serine, and ethanolamine, and their percentage contribution to the cell membrane will be varying depending upon the cell we are discussing. For example, the nerves may have more concentration of phosphatidylserine because of their myelination. Also, the nerves will have more concentration of sphingolipids, and also the cell membrane has cholesterol in addition to the phospholipids and sphingolipids, and the concentration of each of these components can vary from cell to cell. Because of these hydrophilic and hydrophobic ends of the phospholipid molecules, we call it amphipathic, that some part is hydrophilic and some part is hydrophobic. Among the phospholipid molecule, the hydrophilic portion is formed because of the glycerol backbone and the phosphate end, whereas the fatty acid chains, they make the hydrophobic end of the phospholipid molecule. As you can again see over here, the hydrophobic non-polar tails, these are formed because of the fatty acid tails. This portion, the fatty acid tail, whereas the hydrophilic end, this is formed because of the phosphate end and the glycerol backbone of the phospholipid. A special arrangement of lipids in some cells at certain areas is known as lipid rafts. As you can appreciate over here, this portion is the lipid raft, this portion is lipid raft. This may be in the indentation appearance of the cell membrane or maybe at the straight surface of the cell membrane. So what is special about the lipid raft? Although phospholipids are present throughout the cell membrane, in some areas the phospholipid bilayer may be having more sphingolipids than the phospholipids, extra cholesterol as compared to the average cholesterol concentration, and presence of certain proteins. The combination of these three will make this area of the cell membrane lipid raft. The function of the lipid rafts, the major ones include acting as receptors and signaling areas of the cell membrane, and they may be present in the flat platforms as well as cave-like indentations. You will again appreciate the importance of lipid rafts when we will be discussing the types of endocytosis. This image is further showing the channel proteins and receptor proteins and integral versus peripheral proteins. If you have a closer look at this, can you appreciate the function of integral versus peripheral proteins over here? Please take a look. So the integral versus peripheral proteins. Integral proteins may work as channel protein. These are integral proteins. They may act as a receptor protein, whereas peripheral proteins mostly have regulatory and the enzymatic roles. Peripheral proteins are more towards the cytoplasmic surface of the cell membrane. This is the list of detailed functions of the proteins, as you can see over here. The peripheral proteins, if we talk about them, these are attached to the cell membrane via this glycophosphatidylinositol anchor. So they have to attach by some glue, you may say, and this anchor is acting as a glue for attachment of the peripheral proteins to the cell membranes. Functions of peripheral proteins include acting as enzymes, for example, alkaline phosphatase. These might act as antigens for the cellular recognition, may act as cell adhesion molecules for adhesion of one cell to the another cell, and these proteins may also act to combat cell lysis by the complement cascade, so also have a role to play in immunity. The attached peripheral proteins may be lipidated, for example, myocytylated or palmitoylated or prenylated. These images are showing the cytoplasmic and the lipid membrane side of the different types of the peripheral proteins attached with myristoyl, palmitoyl, farnesyl, geranyl, and the image down is showing the hydrophilic and hydrophobic domain and also showing the glycophosphatidylate inositol. And in summary, the peripheral proteins have mostly the enzymatic function in the immunity, function as the adhesion protein, and these can be attached to different types of the lipid molecules and may be attached via the glycophosphatidylate inositol anchor. These proteins may also be attached to the carbohydrate moiety known as glycoproteins. Also, the carbohydrates may be attached to the lipid portion called as glycolipids. As you can appreciate over here, the carbohydrates shown like these hexagonal branches attached either to the lipids or to the proteins, glycolipids or glycoprotein. In combination, the loose carbohydrate core outside the cell surface is known overall as the glycocalyx. This is the cell that attached carbohydrates either to the proteins or to the lipids in combination will form this loose carbohydrate core outside, which is called as glycocalyx. It will have not only glycoproteins and glycolipids but also the proteoglycans. As you know, the difference between glycoproteins and proteoglycans is the relative concentration of the carbohydrates versus proteins. Now that you know the composition of the cell membrane, can you figure out the cell is going to be more permeable to which of the following substance? Let me give you a clue. These all are water-soluble substances and these three are the lipid-soluble substances. As the cell membrane is having phospholipid bilayer, of course, lipid-soluble substances are going to be more permeable. The thickness of cell membrane is 7 to 10 nanometers. In composition, the proteins are more, 55%, then phospholipids, cholesterol, then lipids, and lastly the carbohydrates. If we summarize the functions of these three components, proteins may act as cell adhesion molecules. Integral proteins may act as channel proteins, carrier receptor proteins, or pumps. Peripheral proteins may act as enzymes or regulators of the transport of different substances through the pores. And they may also have a role to play in the immunity, may act as antigen as well. They may combat cell lysis by combating the complement cascade as we discussed previously. To talk about lipids, they provide a barrier to passage of water-soluble substances, have a role to play in lipid signaling as we discussed about lipid drafts, for example. Cholesterol has a special role to play in deciding the degree of permeability of water-soluble substances and the degree of fluidity of the cell membrane. The more the cholesterol in the cell membrane, more fluid that cell membrane is going to be. Sphingolipids have a role to play in protection from the harmful environment and signal transmission. These are more in the cell membranes of the neurons, and they also act as a site for extracellular proteins as the phospholipids do. Carbohydrates form the glycocalyx, which is negatively charged. It can provide a receptor for certain hormones, insulin. Although the receptor of insulin is protein, but that is adhered with help of this glycocalyx, have a role to play in immune regulation and cell recognition, surface marker for the tissue growth. So for the identification of cell, may it be for the some internal regulation or for the immune reaction to a foreign agent. So these are the summarized functions of different components of the cell membrane, by which we have completed our discussion on the cell membrane composition as well as its function.